Tiffany Henyard is really mad. She posted this 10 hours ago, pretty upset. And we're going to talk about why she is so upset right now with the situation that happened in Dalton with her appointment of Michael Smith as the village administrator, appointing Ronnie Burge as the police chief, and the village attorney, I think her name is Angela Lockett. There's some recent issues that's been going on with that, where there's a temporary restraining order, so she's pretty upset. But before we get into that, I want to talk about the Thornton Township lawsuit, the $3 million lawsuit that was discussed in the meeting. I'll show you a little bit about that right now. Another shocking revelation is Henyard admitting that a $3 million lawsuit was nearly lost by default because the township didn't have legal representation in court.
So are you guys going to make sure we got counsel, we gonna have coverage,
don't answer.
so that we can go in court and get this removed for the $3 million that we owe this individual because we didn't have counsel. So are we gonna move forward with that or are we not? What are we doing?
There's counsel here from LDS who can probably answer some questions that the board may have.
Thank you.
All right, go ahead.
Good afternoon, Supervisor, members of the board. There has not been a default judgment entered in this matter. The court has given the township and the individual defendant until October 31st to file a responsive pleading, either an answer or a motion to dismiss. So there is no default at this time.
So what she said was wrong.
The paperwork he got.
That matter was.
She said they lose him by default.
The judge put it over until the October 31st date.
Okay, so it got extended basically. So we got a default for 3 million because I know I saw that because my team showed it to me, and now it's extended for the day. Okay,
That's correct.
well, there y'all answer. So what we gonna do now?
Go ahead, Chris.
No, go ahead.
No, you go ahead, Chris.
You're too nice.
This kind of goes back to my previous question. So have you been working on this case already?
No, I have not, sir.
Okay. So that's because there was no representation?
That's because we have not been retained.
What else is new? So I want to show you guys exactly what happened in this lawsuit, this case right here involving Keith Price threatening and intimidating employees while Tiffany A. Henyard allows it. So let's get into it. As you can see, the employee is named Gerald Jones, and this is the son of township trustee Jerry Jones. And he is going after the township, Keith Price, you can see his name right there, in his individual and official capacity. You see the defendant, Thornton Township, defendant Keith Price, and you also see Tiffany A. Henyard, and you see Keith Freeman there as well. So let's get into the background of exactly what is going on here. So Jones has been working for the township for about 10 years. So this case involves Gerald Jones, the former employee of Thornton Township, who is suing Thornton Township, Keith Price, and others for retaliated discharge, among other claims. This lawsuit describes how, after reporting a mice infestation at the Township Food Assistance Program to OSHA, Jones was harassed, threatened, and retaliated against by the Food Assistance Program manager. Jones also highlights the toxic work environment fostered by Price and Supervisor Tiffany Henyard, further accusing Thornton Township of widespread retaliation against employees who report unethical behavior. So we're going to see some of the abuse of power from Keith Price. Let's check it out. After Henyard was appointed supervisor of Thornton Township in March 2022, she installed her own allies within various roles in the Thornton Township, including Keith Price as food assistance program manager at the food pantry. Shortly after becoming food assistance program manager, it became obvious to Jones that Price was there simply to root out employees. No surprise there, Henyard wants people only loyal to her to work for her. If you're not loyal, if you have a mind of your own, and you criticize her or you report things that are unethical, she will boot you out. Jones was frequently harassed, mistreated, and threatened by Price between March 2022 and January 2023. And Price routinely made rude, degrading, and unprofessional comments towards Jones and other employees. If you've been around and you've seen a few of the township supervisor meetings, when you see Keith Price speaking in public meetings, there's no surprise that he's probably speaking this way privately to these employees. Additionally, since Price became the food assistance program manager, the food pantry began to experience a decline in overall quality and service to its clients. For instance, in and around December 2022, Jones noticed that there were mice in the food pantry, which posed a health and safety risk to the food pantry client. In December 2023, Jones reported finding mice to Price. Funny. Around January 3rd, 2023, after realizing nothing was being done to remedy the situation, Jones reported the matter to OSHA. On January 17, 2023, OSHA sent Jones a letter informing Jones that the food pantry had provided evidence that they had remedied the infestation, and thus Illinois OSHA considered the hazards Jones presented in his complaint to be corrected. However, after learning that Jones had filed a complaint with Illinois OSHA, the mistreatment from Price towards Jones intensified. On or about February 1st, 2023, while working at the food pantry, Price threatened Jones by stating something to the effect of if he wanted to go, quote unquote, outside, and then he was going to, quote unquote, beat him up, an interaction that was witnessed by other pantry workers. Additionally, after finding the mice infestation in the food pantry to Illinois OSHA, Jones was denied the ability to work overtime by Price, while others were given overtime, despite the fact in the past, Jones was given overtime opportunities. On other occasions, after filing his complaint with Illinois OSHA, Price would scream at Jones in front of other pantry workers and clients. Now, this is where things get crazy. The environment was so bad at the food pantry from January 2023 and onward that employees would openly carry firearms. Now, I'm not sure about the concealed carry laws. Should they be openly carrying firearms? They're not the police, so I don't know what's going on over there. In January 2023, a food pantry employee wrote on the chalkboard in the food pantry, "When I leave here, everyone will die," unquote. I don't really know what to say about that one. Who wrote that? Was it an employee? Was it Price? It just says employee, but that's kind of weird. On and about April 3rd, 2023, after fearing for his safety and being unable to endure any mistreatment from Price any longer, Jones quit the food pantry. Keith Price's actions are a prime example of what happens when power goes unchecked. As the food assistance program manager, Price wasn't just overseeing operations, he was terrorizing his employees. After Gerald Jones reported a mice infestation, Price's behavior towards him took a dark turn. Price allegedly made threatening remarks, including asking if they can go outside, threatening to beat him up. This is more than just someone just losing their cool. This is intimidation and workplace bullying of the highest order. What's worse, that this behavior didn't happen in private. It was witnessed by other employees, creating the toxic culture at Thornton Township that makes it impossible to ignore. When a manager feels empowered to harass an employee without fear of repercussions, it says volumes about the leadership and oversight, or the lack thereof, at Thornton Township. So we have to talk about Tiffany Henyard, the supervisor of Thornton Township. Her inaction is equally concerning, but again, not surprising. As the leader of Thornton Township, she had a duty to create a safe and fair work environment. Instead, she either turned a blind eye or actively supported Price's retaliatory actions, which is probably the latter. It's reported after Jones filed his OSHA complaint, Price started to deny him overtime and further harass him by screaming at him in front of other employees. This is not a rogue employee by Price. This is a part of a broader, well-known pattern of behavior that Henyard should have stopped. But it seems like she encouraged it. Henyard's failure to act only emboldened Price. By not addressing these toxic workplace conditions, Henyard essentially allowed Price to continue mistreating staff without consequences. So Gerald Jones wanted to get paid. So Jones has suffered a loss of income and significant emotional distress as a result of Thornton Township's retaliatory acts. Wherefore, Gerald Jones respectfully requests that a judgment be entered against the defendants, and he wants back pay in an amount of determined at trial, consequential damages, including for emotional distress, punitive damages, pre-judgment and post-judgment interest at the highest lawful rate, attorney's fees and costs of this action, any further relief as this honorable court finds reasonable. And that's where we are, where at this point, as you saw in the video I showed you earlier, no one showed up representing the township in this lawsuit. $3 million lawsuit, and not one person representing the township was there. What does that say about the leadership at the township? It is total chaos, total dysfunction, and the person leading it all is Tiffany Henyard.
I am Thornton Township. I'm the head. So with that being said, I will be represented. I don't care what they say up here or have an attitude about me being represented. Any other mayor, any other supervisor are always represented. And I keep telling you guys, you cannot sit here and let people attack the township. I am the leader for Thornton Township. I am the supervisor of Thornton Township. And I'm going to make sure y'all give me my respect.
So she could try to throw blame on why no lawyers showed up, and luckily they were able to delay this situation. But this shows how disjointed this whole situation is. So this matter hasn't been settled yet, but we'll definitely keep an eye out and see exactly what is the conclusion of this situation. But it doesn't look good for the township, particularly Keith Price and Tiffany Henyard. But let's get into the big reason why Tiffany Henyard is really upset and she's really tight about what's going on. So this ongoing controversy in Dalton centers around Mayor Tiffany Henyard's alleged overreach and appointing key positions within the village without legally required consent of the Board of Trustees. At the heart of this case, what triggered this temporary restraining order is the firing of Keith Freeman and the hiring of Mr. Dodds, Michael Smith, his replacement, alongside Angela Lockett as village attorney and Ronnie Burge as police chief. This situation highlights a significant power struggle within Dalton government, raising legal and ethical questions about the proper use of authority in government. So you guys can see right here, Jason House, Brittany Norwood, Kiana Belcher, and Tammy Brown, the trustees of Dalton, versus Tiffany A. Henyard, individually and as mayor of the village of Dalton, Michael A. Smith, Angela Lockett, and Ronnie Burge Jr. So let's get into the facts of this case right here. Plaintiffs Jason House, Brittany Norwood, Kiana Belcher, and Tammy Brown are 4 of the 6 elected trustees of the village of Dalton that make up the majority of the Board of Trustees. Tiffany Henyard is the mayor of the village of Dalton. Keith Freeman is the duly appointed village administrator of the village of Dalton. Michael A. Smith, Angela Lockett, and Ronnie Burge are each individuals that were unlawfully appointed by the Mayor Henyard to positions within the village. Beginning in July 2024, Village Administrator Freeman started issuing directives to village employees to comply with certain laws and ordinances passed by the village board. For example, Freeman notified requests that all requests from Mayor Henyard for services, document, and deployment of resources were to be made in writing, directed department heads to remove all signages containing Mayor Henyard's name and likeness in accordance to the village ordinance, instructed department heads that all village expenditures incurred by the mayor's office must be approved by the Board of Trustees, advised the police department that mayor's security detail had been invoked by ordinance, directed the issuance of permits to the Dalton Park District that had been held up by the mayor for no legitimate reason, and advised the department heads that Tiffany Henyard Cares vehicle stickers would no longer be sold by the village. Upon information and belief, once Mayor Henyard learned of these actions, she began attempts to fire Freeman as the village administrator. Mayor Henyard ordered the IT director to disable Administrator Freeman's email account so he could no longer conduct village business. On 2 occasions, Mayor Henyard ordered Janice Johnson, the director of administrative services, to draft a termination letter to Keith Freeman. At one such occasion, Mayor Henyard ordered her boyfriend and it's not funny, but Mayor Henyard ordered her boyfriend and the former deputy police chief, that's Louis Lacey, to stand outside Miss Janice's office so she could not leave until she drafted said letter. Wow. Ms. Johnson refused the mayor's efforts to draft the termination letter to Administrator Keith Freeman. At the August 5th, 2024 village board meeting, Mayor Henyard called for the vote to terminate Administrator Freeman. No such motion was made, and therefore no action to terminate Administrator Freeman was taken. Despite the lack of board action, Mayor Henyard announced Keith Freeman is fired. Now let's break down this situation. Mayor Henyard's attempts to fire Keith Freeman without following the legal protocols is just not surprising. It's routine for her. Consider this: Freeman had already been appointed with the board's consent, but Mayor Henyard wants to ignore all the formalities. She ordered her staff to lock him out of office and even cut off his email access. You can practically see the chaos continuing to unfold here in Dalton. This is just another attempt to consolidate power with no regard for legal processes. And then there's a moment where she allegedly forced her director of administrative services to draft a letter firing Keith Freeman, and even going as far as to station her boyfriend and the former deputy police chief, Louis Lacey, outside of her office to ensure compliance. How does this even happen in a professional setting? This is just something that comes out of a mob movie. Adding to the drama, Henyard brazenly announces at the board meeting that Keith Freeman is fired, despite the board not voting on his termination. This isn't just breaking the rules, this is snapping them in half. And to make matters worse, she bypasses the board again by appointing Michael Smith as village administrator and Angela Lockett as village attorney, with no formal consent. Mayor Henyard, trustee Andrew Holmes, and trustee Stanley Brown and several members of the public appeared at the village hall September 3rd, 2024. No quorum was established as required for a meeting, and the meeting was never called to order. Mayor Henyard proceeded to call for department heads' reports, Then she had her personal attorney, Bo Brintley, speak about the quote-unquote attack on Mayor Henyard, the corruption of the Board of Trustees, and the purported termination of Keith Freeman as village administrator. Mr. Brintley's speech was riddled with misrepresentations of the Open Meetings Act, Illinois Constitution, and Illinois Municipal Code and court orders. Mayor Henyard then stated she was appointing Lakeside Legal and attorney Angela Lockett as the village attorney. Mayor Henyard then stated that she was appointing Michael Smith as the village administrator. You see right there, obviously no vote was taken by the Board of Trustees on the appointment of Lockett and Smith. And then you put the cherry on top, appointing Ronnie Burge as police chief, even though, again, the board had no say on the matter. All these moves scream, I'm in charge and I don't need anyone's approval. As you see right here, this is when she appointed Ronnie Burge Jr. This happened on the 20th, about 6 days ago. This did not occur during an open meeting, and the Board of Trustees did not vote to consent to this appointment. So Henyard wants to continue to have the hostile working environment, not just in Dalton, but in Thornton Township. Basically everything she touches, leaving everyone confused and without direction. The fallout from this, it just damaged the village internally. It erodes the foundation of government. And that's why Dalton is at this point now issuing restraining orders. Keith Freeman still has a job. Michael Smith is not the village administrator. Angela Lockett is not the village attorney. And Ronnie Burge is not the police chief. So all the people that she appointed have no official business in Dalton politically in terms of running anything with the village. None of these things can happen until the Board of Trustees vote on these matters. So what does that mean? That means that obviously, Tiffany Henyard is big mad right now. She's really upset, and I'm sure she's going to try to appeal. It's going to be more of a back and forth, obviously, as we see this until, again, the FBI decides to do something, or next year when they vote on a new mayor. But it seems like right now, Henyard is not getting her way, and you know what's going to happen when she doesn't get her way. It just gets more chaotic. But what do you guys think about this story? Let me know in the comments below. Thank you for taking time to watch this video, and I'll see you guys in the next video.